Hi friends, let's learn industrial instrumentation. Before we begin, let's find the definition of instrumentation. Instrumentation is the science of automated measurement and control. Means the measurement, automatic measurement and the controlling of a process is called instrumentation. Instruments are devices to measure and control process. Instruments are used at home and in various industries like manufacturing, oil and gas, petrochemicals, etc. Normally, and there are also companies like pharmaceutical companies and chemical industries. Some other chemical industries also using industrial instrumentation for measurement of various parameters like pressure, temperature, flow, level, etc. Normally, instruments measure flow, temperature, level, pressure and transmit the reading of the particular value on the field, the actual value on the field, and send it to the automatic controller like DCS. DCS is a distributed control system, or PLC. PLC is a programmable logical controller. DCS, we will discuss later on what is a DCS and what is a PLC, but in short you can assume that both are controllers, automatic controllers who have some logical program which is programmed by the engineer, and based on the input it gives the output action. Common instruments used at home are thermostats, tank level sensor, like you have seen some kind of float switch, and thermostats in your AC, etc. Process control. In a plant, like there is oil refining process, or there are different kinds of processes which is done to make the raw material into some useful product, is called a process. In process, we are putting the raw material, like in case of oil and gas industry, we are putting the crude oil, and our output product is gasoline, petrol, diesel, in other words we can say naphtha, etc. Now, how do we control all this process automatically? Is basically we need a measurement device which sends like there are various process parameters like pressure, temperature, flow, level, etc. And there is a controller, as I already discussed, like a DCS or PLC, which will decide what action I have to take based on the actual measuring values on the field. Then it will give some final action, which is which we already put as per our logic, to control the final controlling devices like control valves. So, and when the DCS or PLC controls the final controlling valves, the process, if it was going below our actual requirement, then it will move up, or if it is it was going behind, it was going above our requirement, it will come back. So this is how we control the process in this industry. Common industrial terms, like we already discussed, there is a process variables like pressure, flow, temperature, level, etc. Then there is a set point. We will discuss all these points in the next session, but before that you should know what are the various terms we are using in the industry, like primary sensing element, transducers, transmitters, LRB and URB, zero and span. Process. Process is the physical system we are attempting to control or measure. For example, water filtration system, molten metal casting system, steam boiler, oil refinery unit, a power generation unit, etc. I would like to give you example in case of oil refinery, like we are using crude oil uh, and we are refining it and treating with various processes like hydrotreating, cracking, distillation, etc. Heating, cooling, there are various processes. So each action is called a process, and in terms overall, if you see as an industry, we put the crude oil in the input of the industry, or oil and gas industry is the crude oil, and the output of the industry is the useful product like petrol, diesel, naphtha, kerosene, etc. So this complete uh, flow is called a process. How we are treating the crude oil in different, whether we are boiling it, whether we are cooling, and there are many types of things we are doing with it. So this complete system is called a process. Process variables. Process variables are PV. When you go to industry, you will hear this term PV or process variable quite often. What is the process variable? Process variable is a specific quantity we are measuring in a process. For example, how much is the pressure in our inlet, how much is the level of the tank, how much is the temperature of the inlet or outlet, how much is the flow, how much is the electrical conductivity, how much is the pH value, whether the solution is acidic or basic, what is the position of our system, of our control valve, and how much is the speed of our motor, compressor, etc., and how much vibration the system is facing. These kinds of inputs we are taking from the plants, and that is called the process variables. The common use term in the industry is the set point. Who gives the set point? Normally the operator who is controlling the plant gives the set point. Set point is the value at which we desire the process variable to be maintained. What is the process variable? As we discussed, pressure, temperature, level, flow, these kind of things we want to control, and we want to, the operator gives a particular set point that the level of the tank should not be less than this one and it should reach to particular this set point, or the flow in the pipe should not be lower than this set point, and all this. So this, in other words, we can say what is the set point? It is the target value of the process variable, what we actually desire. Primary sensing elements. What are the primary sensing elements? As you can understand with the definition, with the name itself, it's a sensor. Primary sensing element is a device that directly senses the process variable and translates that sensed quantity into analog representation. Our system cannot understand what the sensor is understanding, so it has to convert that signal into machine understandable signal, like analog representation. In to this analog representation, we are changing it to digital system inside our DCS. The analog representation like electrical voltage, current, resistance, mechanical force, motion, etc. Examples of the primary sensing elements are thermocouple, thermistor, Bourdon tube, microphone, potentiometer, electrochemical cells, accelerometer, etc.